Please subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so that you get notified of new videos, and hit the thumbs up to like the video. And if you feel that this content might benefit anyone that you know, please share the link. So I'd like to continue with our lunges. So I'd like to continue working on more specifically stepping back into a lunge. Now, there are several ways that you can get into a lunge, but I want to go over this one. It's the easiest, and again, when I say easiest, uncomplicated way to step into a lunge. That way you can practice that whole front knee alignment that we talked about a little bit earlier. So stepping back into a lunge is a very simple way that you can start working on perfecting that front knee alignment. So we are going to work on the back part of our lunge a little bit more later on, but what you can do to do a little bit of practicing is practice stepping back and see how does it feel to step back just a little bit. How does it feel to step back too much? You know, where is that spot for me? Where's going to be the Goldilocks spot? And yes, you're going to practice it, but not necessarily will perfect an exact spot on your mat where, oh yes, I have to step exactly there. It'll be exactly there for that moment, but it's going to change. It's going to really change as you start to open up your hips, as your legs start to open up, as your entire body starts to open up. You're going to notice that the distance between your feet in your lunge, it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And you have to gradually work on that because your first lunge when you step back probably is going to be too short. And that's what I'd like to go over, is what happens when it's too short, what happens when it's too long. So normally when we're stepping back into our lunge, we are coming into that from mountain pose. So I'm going to come into my mountain pose, and I'm not going to set up everything because I want to talk about that stepping back. So again, in my lunge position, in my mountain pose, so I've aligned everything is facing forward, and I'm literally going to take my left foot, because that's the one closest to the TV, I'm going to step it back. Now, I'm just going to, take a nice easy step back. I'm not going to try to measure it. I'm not going to, figure out, oh, is that really my lunge position? I don't know. Let's check it out. So the easiest way for you to see if that's the proper length for you to step back to keep the front knee in alignment is from wherever you stepped back, try to drop the back knee. So I'm literally just going to, wherever my feet are, I'm going to try to just drop the back knee. And as I go down, I'm going to bend this left knee and I'm going to go down. And I'm going to have a little bit of a difficulty going down because can you see what's going on with my front knee? I'm way past my toe. So for me, right now, this front knee is not in the right alignment. So wherever I just took that step back, for me, it's too short. Yeah? Now when we talked about that knee over ankle, and I said it would give you lots of power, this is a really good example of the power that you do not have because this knee is hanging over. Now from here, without moving my feet, I'm going to try to get back up into a standing position where I just came from, right? I was just standing and I went down and I want to go back up. So for me to get back up here, I gotta do a little bit of maneuvering and finagling, and I gotta get my hand on, not that you won't need this again, but I really have zero power in my legs to get up. And in fact, this is quite uncomfortable on my knee. So I'm gonna come up That really was not very good for my knee. But just to show you that that didn't give me the best support system to try to lift myself back up. Yeah? So I'm going to just kind of give that a little shake off because that really was not comfortable for my knee. So that's going to be another negative thing about having that knee flare over past your toes. It's not going to be comfortable. So I'm going to switch sides and I'm just going to flip over to the other side so that you can kind of see this front leg closest to you and so that I can work both sides. So again, I would be at the front of my mat, yeah? In my mountain pose, everything is facing forward. I've done all my alignments. And now I'm going to take a step back. And now I'm going to go with my right foot. But I'm going to overstep it. So you may not know, well, what the heck is overstepping? So I'm going to take like a pretty big step back there. Hopefully, we'll see what happens. Okay, here I go. So here's my right foot, and I'm going to step really far back. So now I went considerably further back than my first step. And again, I can easily measure by dropping my bottom knee. I'm going to drop my knee, and then I'm going to see what's going on with my front alignment. And I'm looking down, I'm much closer, yeah? I have that knee over ankle much closer than where I just was on the other side. In fact, I think for this one, I'm that little bit behind, which I tend to go to, but that's okay, right? So I'm much more aligned with the knee over ankle. So now I've stepped back, I dropped my back knee, yeah? And now I'm going to try to get back up. My toes are still tucked under. My foot is exactly where it is, where it just was from stepping back. And I'm going to see, can I get up? Can I use the power of my legs? I might not be able to just yet. So I might need to use my thigh a little bit to get myself up. But I can almost guarantee it's going to be a little easier getting up. So here, I can use my thigh a little bit. I can push up, and there I am. I got up a little bit easier, yeah? So I'm just going to step it forward. So another example of having that knee over ankle, having it stacked in that safe, very sturdy position, getting yourself from low lunge up vertical, it's going to be a little easier. So once again, you can use this step back to measure kind of how close I am to that alignment on the front knee. And that alignment on the front knee, again, it's good for many reasons. Gives you power, it's safe. Your ankle is going to just feel so much better when it's not jammed up. Yeah. So let's try a couple. So I'm going to come to the front of my mat. So from our mountain pose, depending on what we've just done, our hands may be down by our sides. Maybe we even start with hands on the waist to give ourselves a little bit of balance. So I have a tendency to talk with my hands a little bit. So I'm going to take my left foot back. Did I fall over? Oh, I was a little wobbly there. Now, we talked about train tracks and tight ropes, did we? I'm not sure. This is an example of me stepping back and my feet were maybe a little bit too close to each other in respect to that one imaginary line that runs down. So when I stepped back, I'm going to exaggerate. Maybe my feet were more in front of each other. One is kind of in line with the other. If I drew a straight line, they would both be on one line. That's what we call tightrope. And even as I'm trying to explain to you here, I'm kind of wobbling because I don't have the balance to sustain this. Yes? So my feet are on that tightrope. Yeah? Now, if I put my feet on those train tracks on either side of that imaginary line, I'm going to have a little bit more stability. Now, how far we take our train tracks is really going to depend on you. But just know that a tightrope is going to be a little bit harder to balance than a train track formation. That's going to give me a little bit more stability. I'm going to feel safer. I'm not going to fall over. So when we take our step back, is it on that tightrope or is it on those train tracks? Another thing that you can keep in mind. So again, I took my step back. I'm going to measure. I'm going to drop my back knee, and I'm going to go, oh, how close I am. Knee over ankle. Is it pretty close? Pretty close, not too bad. I'm pretty happy with that. So let's check it out. Is it going to give me a little extra power? Do I need my hands on my thighs to help up? Or can I literally get up without the hand help on the thigh? And then I'm going to step forward. There's my mountain pose. I might need to wiggle jiggle of the legs a little bit depending on what's going on. And I'm going to try the other side. So again, tightrope, train tracks. I'm going to take my right foot, I'm going to step it back, and I'm going to intentionally try to go into my tightrope. And right away, I can notice that my balance is much more challenged. So even though I drop that back knee, and yes, I still have the front alignment pretty good, but I'm on that tightrope, and for me right now, it's causing me to lose my balance. So I might have to take my feet in that train track beside each other, yeah? So then I'm going to have probably a little bit easier time to get up, and then I'm going to have an easier time to step forward. So stepping back into your lunge, you can practice that a little bit to check the front alignment. You can practice stepping back to see where your train tracks need to be. Are they narrow train tracks? Are they wide train tracks? And you can even play with extra wide train tracks. When you are stepping back, take an intentional long and wide. So I'm gonna go over here and step off my mat. Now that's way off. I'm off my mat, I've stepped back. So yes, I've made my train tracks wide, but now I'm still out of alignment. So I'm going to drop down, and my hips and knees, they're not going to be happy. So this is too wide. So don't think, oh, my balance is really bad, I'm going to go really wide to be safe. There is too much, yes? You're constantly looking for that Goldilocks spot. And as your balance improves, you will notice that wherever your train tracks start off with, day one of whatever, you're going to notice that you gradually can get the base a little bit narrower, and you can still keep your alignment. And that's an eventual thing. For now, I would advise the feet underneath that hip bone. That is going to probably give you the most support. You're going to feel the most secure there. And then eventually we can narrow that base as we get stronger, as we get better, as we get more confident. But for now, I'd stick with that and collect some brownie points in my head. Get a little bit of confidence, get a little bit of security. And you can always play around with that later. Yeah? So practice a couple of your step backs and see where's comfortable for you. And always know that, okay, I take my step back and I measure, and it's like, okay, it's not quite in the right spot. So how do I change it? Well, you can step forward and try it again, or you can really simply, I have a tendency to scoochie my back foot back. So there's my step. There, I'm going to scoochie, I'm going to scoochie, I'm going to scoochie. There I go. You might be the type of person who likes to move their front foot forward. I don't like that one as much because my mat is a little sticky. So it's a little bit harder for me to do that. Plus, I don't like going like that with my toes. For me, it's much easier just to scoochie, scoochie, scoochie with the back foot. So I can slide along my mat if you have a slippery one. This one doesn't quite slide, but you get the idea. If you right away, let's say you're having a dizzy day, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna step back, but I'm not feeling the love on my balance, so I'm gonna just step back first, get the connection to the ground, feel sturdy, and then go, okay, I know this needs to be bigger. And then, okay, maybe I go a little bit more. Okay, maybe I go a little bit more. And you can do that. You can use those progressions on those days that, you're not feeling confident. The idea is to eventually start from your mountain pose, take that one step, and your body will kind of tell you, okay, that's where you need to go. And hopefully you'll be pretty close to having that front knee in that proper alignment. So I dwell on that one a little bit more. I talked about this before. That front knee alignment, it's a pretty important alignment that I think you should work on and try to get more times than not. You're not going to get it on every single time you step back. You're not going to be 100% perfect. But the idea is work on that one. That one's a pretty good one to try to perfect quite soon in your practice. You're just going to see that you get much stronger faster, and things will be maybe a little bit easier for you. But I think that's a good one to work on. So that's it for now. Like I said, we're going to work on lunges in many different ways. Coming forward into a lunge, we're going to work on the back leg. But again, just to reinforce that front knee alignment, that's something that you should be very mindful of when you get into your lunges. So that's it for now, and we'll talk soon. Bye for now.